Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Millions will be traveling throughout Southern California this holiday season, but a looming storm could complicate plans in the coming days. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Forecasters are expecting rain and maybe even flooding in parts of San Diego County. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman begins our coverage.
The holiday travel rush is nearly here. AAA is forecasting from Saturday through the new year, just under 10 million people in Southern California will take a trip of 50 miles or more. That's up compared to last year.
The reason why we're anticipating a record number of travelers this holiday season is because we've seen growth in travel all year long. Memorial Day, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, all at either record or near record travel volumes. And what that tells us is people just feel more comfortable to travel again.
Most people will be getting to their holiday destinations by car, but expect the airport to be busy too. Airport officials are anticipating more than 700,000 people arriving and departing now through the 1st. With construction underway at Terminal 1, be sure to arrive early, and if you're parking at the airport, try reserving a spot online. Something else that could complicate travel plans in the coming days is the arrival of a winter storm. It's already hitting the Ventura and Santa Barbara area and is heading San Diego's way.
The rain really doesn't come in until Thursday night and early Friday morning when most of us are asleep and not traveling. So if you must travel on Thursday or Friday, take off Thursday morning.
The National Weather Service estimates the county will see 1 to 2 inches of rain this week. Forecasters are issuing a flood watch for coastal and inland valley areas.
If you're taking a road trip this holiday season, be sure to inspect your vehicle. Make sure it's ready for that road trip. Check your tire tread and inflation. Very important, especially if you're traveling on wet roads, because your tires keep that traction on the roadway.
As far as a white Christmas goes for San Diego's mountain areas,
not at Mount Laguna, not at Palomar Mountain, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait to January to see some snow in those mountains.
Tardy says the good news is Christmas Eve and Christmas Day look dry right now, but there may be another storm coming shortly after the holidays. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
And weather will continue to be a story that affects holiday travel schedules in the days ahead. Coming up later, see the damage done by storms in the Northeast, including rising floodwaters that are threatening homes.
Wet weather will begin to increase later on tonight as we work our way into Thursday. Still thinking the heaviest of the rain would be late Thursday evening into Thursday night and early Friday morning. And believe it or not, we even have some weekend sunshine in the forecast. I'll talk about rain amounts as well as the temperatures and much more just ahead.
A reminder that sandbags are available from the city of San Diego. You can pick them up at nearly a dozen rec centers, including one in each city council district. Keep in mind that the giveaway is just for empty bags and sand is not included. Those with proof of residency can get up to 10 bags per person. With the possibility of heavy rain and floods this week, workers at some San Diego homeless shelters are getting ready to take people in. Living Water Church of the Nazarene in downtown is one of 4 overnight shelters that the city opens when the weather gets especially cold or stormy. All 4 locations are spread out across downtown and will accept anyone who shows up at their door.
They come in at 8. We have hot cocoa. We serve dinner. We let them get settled. We let them go in and out and smoke until 10.
The city decides each morning whether to open the shelters for that night. With that in mind, volunteers recommend calling the county's 211 hotline to see which locations are open before showing up. The Metropolitan Transit System is planning increases in bus and trolley frequencies. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says that's thanks to an influx of state funding.
Like most transit agencies, MTS had to cut back service during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it's still recovering. The state legislature this year stepped in to help, providing more than $5 billion in one-time funding to transit agencies across the state. MTS plans on using its share of about $284 million to reduce wait times at transit stops. Manny Rodriguez is the Transportation and Planning Program Manager for the City Heights Community Development Corporation.
Here in City Heights, for example, the 1, the 7, the 10, 215, and 235 buses will be seeing increased frequencies and increased hours of operations. That means less waiting at the bus, and you can use the bus earlier in the morning and later at night.
MTS will also use some of the funding to build out charging infrastructure for its growing fleet of electric buses. And it will start a new overnight express bus from the San Ysidro border crossing to downtown.
The Blue Line trolley does not run 24/7, so having this border connection is crucial for early morning workers and late night workers to make it to and from downtown to, make their living.
Most of the bus and trolley improvements are slated to take effect in the summer of 2025. That's to give MTS time to hire more bus drivers. The MTS Board of Directors this month asked the agency's staff to accelerate that timeline and implement the improvements by next summer. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
The San Marcos Creek project is about to reach a major milestone. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayers says the Via Vera Cruz Bridge is opening up, which will help traffic flows and businesses just ahead of the stormy weather and the holidays.
It's been a few months since people could cross the creek between San Marcos Boulevard to Discovery Street. Last Friday, the city of San Marcos held a dedication ceremony and said the new bridge would be open this week. Now, the city's engineer Isaac Echemendi says it's happening.
Before the end of today, we'll be opening up Via Vera Cruz to traffic.
Business owners in the area are looking forward to the reopening. Tim Daniels of Town Jewelers says sales have been significantly impacted by the closure. Usually, the holidays are his busiest time of year.
The business has been down approximately 70%, in the last 3 months. But, we'll survive because I've been here 46 years and I have a lot of clients.
The new bridge is one of the final components of the over $100 million San Marcos Creek project. It's added infrastructure to reduce flooding, improve traffic flow, and restore the creek habitat. The new bridge is much higher than the previous road, and there's 4 lanes plus sidewalks and bike lanes.
Before we did any of these improvements, there was a small 2-lane timber bridge over the creek that frequently flooded.
While it's been a struggle for Daniel's business and other storefronts nearby the construction, he's excited about the long-term benefits of the project.
I think it's positive for the city of San Marcos that we needed it very bad, and I know they've been working on this project for many, many, many years, and it costs lots of money to do it, but it's worth it because San Marcos we're a major city right now.
The 214-acre project area has been undergoing construction since early 2020. The final steps in the Creek project include a bit more road work on Bent Avenue and the completion of Paseo del Arroyo Park, expected to open in early 2024. Jacob Ayers, KPBS News.
A statewide strike has been announced for CFA members at California State University campuses. The strike will happen January 22nd through the 26th as the CFA bargaining team works on negotiating over pay equity and working conditions with management. This is video from union demonstrations earlier this month. Among the bargaining points are a 12% pay raise to keep ahead of inflation, expanding paid parental leave to a full semester, as well as gender-inclusive restrooms. In Tijuana, the Mexican side of the border wall used to be covered with hundreds of murals, but those murals were lost when the Biden administration built a taller fence. KPBS border reporter Gustavo Solis spoke with local artists who have plans for the new wall.
The Biden administration is currently replacing large sections of the wall along Friendship Park. So gone are the colorful murals that once decorated the Mexican side of the border wall. Most of them touched on themes of migration and border life. They brought attention to special causes like deported veterans or migrant deaths. Now, they've mostly been replaced with a tall, gray, and bare fence. But not for long.
Creo que la parte triste fue en el momento que me enteré.
Enrique Chu is an artist who has spent thousands of hours painting murals along the border. He says that the entire art community was sad to see the old murals get taken down. However, now that the new wall is up, Chu and other artists are excited to get to work on their new canvas.
Pero ahorita me emociona más saber que tenemos un lienzo más grande que podemos pintar.
A small group of artists have already completed the first mural. Corazón Migrante is an homage to Tijuana's migrant culture. It features a blood-red heart with blue wings and is meant to be a tribute to the resilient heart of a migrant. Chu says the new border wall won't stay bare for long. In January, more than 20 artists from all over Mexico will come to Tijuana.
Y que la gente ahorita está todavía emocionada por regresar a pintar con nosotros.
He says they're already excited to bring color back to the border. Gustavo Solis, KPBS News.
A major retailer will stop using facial recognition software as part of a federal settlement. The Federal Trade Commission says Rite Aid used the technology to unfairly target people of color. According to the allegations, Rite Aid used facial recognition to identify potential shoplifters. The settlement calls for Rite Aid to stop using the software for the next 5 years. A local CNN Hero of the Year received a $90,000 grant from San Diego Foundation. San Diego County street vet Dr. Quan Stewart received the CNN honor this year for founding Project Street Vet, helping the pets of those experiencing homelessness. Dr. Stewart announced that he will split the award with the other finalists. The grant is from the Linda C. Scott Fund for Animal Welfare at San Diego Foundation. The central figure in one of the biggest bribery cases in U.S. military history is back in America. Leonard Francis is among those included in a prisoner swap the U.S. negotiated with Venezuela this week. Francis was found there after escaping house arrest in San Diego last year. He was facing a 25-year prison sentence for bribing Navy officials to steer business to a ship servicing company that he owned in Singapore. California's lieutenant governor wants to follow Colorado's lead in banning former President Donald Trump from the 2024 ballot. Eleni Kounalakis says she sent a letter to the Secretary of State to examine how it can be done. A decision would need to be made before next week's deadline to finalize the March primary ballot. Julia Benbrook has more reaction to the Colorado ruling.
The Colorado Supreme Court ruled 4-3 that former President Donald Trump can't be on the ballot in the state because of his actions on January 6, 2021, citing the 14th Amendment's ban on insurrectionists holding public office.
I believe that Donald Trump incited the insurrection and that it's up to a court to determine whether that incitement disqualifies him from further holding office under the Constitution. This isn't such a clear-cut case in that we don't have a lot of case law. It's unprecedented.
The Trump campaign said it would swiftly file an appeal, writing, "We have full confidence that the U.S. Supreme Court will quickly rule in our favor and finally put an end to these un-American lawsuits." The Colorado ruling is drawing strong reaction from voters.
I think working to prevent something like that from happening again is beneficial for all Americans.
I do not see our judicial system having a right to interject themselves into the middle of the process.
This decision is likely to become a rallying cry for Republicans in 2024. Even Trump's primary competitors are speaking out against the decision.
We don't need to have judges making these decisions. We need voters to make these decisions.
I think it would cause a lot of anger in this country if people had the choice taken away from them.
Trump spoke at a campaign event in Iowa Tuesday night after the ruling dropped, but he did not mention the court's decision. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Rain is expected to arrive tonight and last through Friday here in San Diego, and this isn't the only place where the weather is an issue. Laura Aguirre shows us the flooding in the Northeast that's threatening homes just days before the Christmas holiday.
I got a 9-year-old who's freaking out. It's like, what if we have to leave? It's just like, I'll carry you on my back. So that's what I do.
Residents across New England are assessing property damage Wednesday as floodwaters continue to rise around them.
This is the water line right here. So we had quite a bit of water.
Maine is the hardest hit state, with over 6 dozen state roads currently closed.
As a result of downed trees and power lines and flooding
and significant infrastructure damage.
Some residents heeded calls to evacuate ahead of the floods, but many stayed put. And water rescues by boat and helicopter are underway.
We have to put rescuers in extreme risk to go get them out.
Forecasters say many rivers across the Northeast will stay in major flood stage over the next 24 hours with dangerous currents, like here in Gorham, New Hampshire, where a water department truck was turned into twisted metal after being swept by floodwaters into a bridge. And this home holding on with just temporary wooden beams.
This whole embankment had chain link fences and rocks to be able to support the land. It just peeled right back like it was paper.
With floodwaters rising and temperatures falling, many residents are racing to salvage what they can as the holiday weekend nears.
I think I've got it down packed now. It's working out. I'm on hour 3. Hopefully, I think there's like another hour left and we'll be done.
I'm Laura Aguirre for KPBS News.
Well, here comes the wet weather. So far to date, historical average rainfall for the month right around an inch. And we could see more than that. We could see more than a month's worth of rain over the course of the next couple of days. Not tonight, though. Some showers increasing late, temperatures dropping into the mid and the upper 50s. Perhaps a few steadier showers as you go further north, Oceanside toward Riverside County, and especially out towards, say, Santa Barbara. They're going to see some very heavy rainfall again tonight into early Thursday. Chula Vista down to 54, Mount Laguna at 36. This is the plume of moisture. It's going to deliver some very heavy rain in the short term, but as we go through Thursday, we'll start to see that plume begin to slide its way further in our direction. By the time we go into the afternoon, the evening, the rainfall rates will be on the increase, and that continues as we go into your Friday. All right, so let's break it down here again for tomorrow. Temperature-wise, 70 at Oceanside, 69 Chula Vista. Again, the heaviest of the rains coming in later on in the day, and that's why there is a flood watch out area-wide now that starts Thursday afternoon but goes into Friday afternoon. Again, timing of the heaviest rain Thursday evening into Thursday night. And we can see 1 to 2 inches of rain, higher totals over some of the higher terrain, especially as you lift your way to the north. Los Angeles looking at several inches of rain. Santa Barbara looking at 3 to 6 inches of rain. So we talk about the coast here, an inch or two of rain over the course of the next couple of days. That's a month's worth, but we do see some sunshine returning as we head our way into the weekend. Same here for the interior valleys. Wet weather on Thursday begins to taper later on Friday, a stray shower Saturday, and then we're back in the sun, though it does stay a little bit cool here to start the weekend. Mountainous terrain could end into some snow. Snow levels are going to be pretty high, though, and notice the sunshine is back with us later on this weekend. Even the deserts will see some rain Thursday into Friday. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Justin Povick.
This Christmas might be remembered for the light display caused by an active volcano, at least for people in Iceland. Fred Flightgen has an update as some residents wait to return to their homes.
Up close as the Earth spews fountains of lava. South Iceland remains in a state of emergency as the volcanic eruption continues.
This is as close as the Icelandic authorities are going to allow us to the actual fissure, to where the eruption is happening. I'd say we're a mile, maybe a little less than a mile away from it. Now, things have calmed down a little bit, but at the same time, of course, the danger is still there. The authorities fear that there could be new vents that might open up, pop up, and that more lava could be gushing to the surface and then could be coming to the surface in fountains like we've seen over the past day and a half. So while things have gotten a little bit more muted, certainly the danger is not over.
In the early stages of the eruption, a wall of lava spewing hundreds of feet into the air. While it has subsided somewhat, the underground magma tunnel remains active and dangerous.
Still dangerous, of course, and the magma that is coming up is around 1,200 degrees hot when it comes to the surface, and it takes a long time for the surface to cool down.
The area around the eruption zone remains cordoned off, critical infrastructure in danger, the world-famous Blue Lagoon hot springs closed.
Here's another reason why the situation is so dangerous. You see over there is the volcanic activity, and if we pan over in this direction, over there is a geothermal power plant that's extremely important for the electricity here in this area. The authorities are trying to protect that power plant by building a berm against any lava flows.
For the local residents, no respite.
We now have this volcanic eruption very close to Grindavik. I think it has proven vital that the town was evacuated in November. We have been buying flats for the residents, so now we actually have 70 flats that people can move into before Christmas, which is the most people who are in most dire need of housing.
Leaving many residents wondering if they will ever see their homes again. From Fletkin near Grindavik, Iceland.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, several Americans held in Venezuela are released in a prisoner swap. That's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
As we wrap up 2023, we're looking back on some of our best stories of the year. This summer, KPBS went to Liberty Station and found a piano that's creating community and an opportunity. Education reporter MG Perez introduces us to the young musicians who turned a school project into a valuable lesson of hope and healing.
Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's all right.
14-year-old McKenna Stumpo and his lifelong friend, 14-year-old Liam Kett, have a creative connection that they most recently used in a collaboration to revive an aging Iverson Pond upright piano.
This piano is significantly older. It's lived about 3 lifetimes.
McKenna is an accomplished piano player and singer. Liam plays the electric guitar. Together, they make music and create art, which brings us to the piano project they started last October to earn community service hours at school. The piano was headed to the junkyard, but the boys were sure it still had value and a reason to play on. That's when they reached out to the National Sing for Hope organization, a New York City-based nonprofit that uses artists everywhere to bring hope, healing, and inspiration through art to people who need it most, starting with restored pianos.
Someone paints a piano, it's put in the public for about 3 weeks. That's where we are right now, is in the public display section. And then it's donated to a forever home, such as a hospital, school, a community center, even someplace like this.
Since July, the piano has lived in this corridor at the corner of Dewey Road and historic Decatur Road in Liberty Station. Its keyboard available to anyone passing by.
There are lots of my signature style doodles, and there's skateboards, there's waves all over the piano.
Liam is also a talented artist who uses acrylic paint and markers to draw. The piano became his canvas, honoring his beloved Ocean Beach community.
It's a sun with rays shooting out like this one from the sun, and a large-scale Ocean Beach pier with a bunch of waves breaking.
For McKenna, there is a deeper message in his music, inspired by the legendary Piano Man.
Come down here, you'll see little kids tinkering around on the piano, and who knows, maybe that could inspire someone to take lessons and become the next Billy Joel or something. Slow down, you crazy child. Take the phone off the hook and disappear for a while.
Last year, this incoming high school freshman was named one of San Diego County's most remarkable teenagers for his commitment to community fundraising and for his Billy Joel-like talent, too. McKenna also helps save lives as a junior lifeguard along San Diego's beaches. Here, he uses a surfboard and his training to make a difference. But with the sound of the waves, you can also hear the passion of his musical talent and how he uses it to help others.
They could have been having thoughts of suicide or whatever, and they walked by a piano like this and they heard someone playing, or they sat down and played it, and that prevented them from doing whatever they were going to do and just just connecting through the arts, I think, is the most important part of this project.
And the whole idea is art for all.
We talked with Camille Zamora, co-founder of Sing for Hope in New York City, about McKenna and Liam's piano project. She gives them an A+ on the message they've created through their music.
It expands our minds. It breaks down those barriers. And I think that connection with that spark of innovation is something that we all need. Lifelong, as lifelong learners, we have to be re-engaged with the spirit of creativity.
Are you the piano boy?
That's not for me to say.
For now, Liberty Station will allow the boys' piano to stay until they can find its forever home. MG Perez, KPBS News.
And an update to that story. The piano later found a home at San Diego's Marcy High School. It's an alternative learning community for students with social and emotional special needs. And here is a look at what we are working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. Intense rain has caused flooding in the Northeast this week. On NPR's Morning Edition, climate scientists are finding these events are getting more common, and most cities aren't prepared to handle all of that water. And KPBS Midday Edition is wrapping up its look back at the best interviews of 2023. Tomorrow we'll focus on arts and culture, including the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.